On my 68th birthday, my granddaughter handed me a card she made herself and whispered, "Please don't tell Mommy I gave you this." I thought it was just a child's shyness about her drawing. I had no idea I was holding the first piece of evidence in something that would tear my family apart before it healed it. A quick note: this story contains fictional elements crafted for storytelling purposes. Any resemblance to real people or places is coincidental, but the message is one I hope stays with you. The kitchen smelled like cinnamon and burnt coffee, the way it always did when my daughter-in-law Renee tried to bake and got distracted halfway through. I sat at the head of the table in the house I built with my own hands 31 years ago, the house my late wife Marion had filled with the smell of her cooking for 3 decades before the cancer took her. Now it was just me, most days. Except on birthdays, when my son Daniel brought his family over, Renee, and my granddaughter Ren, who was 7 and had her grandmother's exact same laugh, the kind that started in the chest before it ever reached the mouth. Except Ren hadn't laughed once all evening. She sat beside me, picking at her plate, small and quiet in a way that didn't match the girl I remembered from 6 months ago, the one who used to climb onto my lap uninvited and narrate entire imaginary kingdoms to me without taking a breath. "You feeling okay, sweetheart?" I asked her. She nodded too fast. "I'm okay, Grandpa." Across the table, Renee was laughing at something on her phone, thumb scrolling, barely glancing up. Daniel sat beside her, quiet, refilling his glass of wine more often than a Tuesday dinner really called for. When it came time for cake, Ren slipped something into my hand under the table, folded paper, soft at the edges like it had been folded and unfolded many times. "Happy birthday, Grandpa," she whispered. "Don't tell Mommy I gave you this." I didn't open it right then. I tucked it into my shirt pocket and smiled at her like everything in the world was fine, because that's what you do for a 7-year-old who is trying so hard to hold something together. It wasn't until after they'd left, after I'd washed the last of the dishes and turned off the porch light, that I sat down in my armchair and unfolded the paper. It was a drawing. A house, crayon walls, a yellow sun in the corner. 4 stick figures standing outside it, a tall one, a medium one, a small one, and off to the side, alone, a smaller one still, standing apart from the others with no smile on her circle face. Underneath, in a 7-year-old's careful, uneven handwriting, she'd written, "I wish I lived at Grandpa's house." I sat with that drawing in my lap for a long time. The clock on the mantel ticked through 9, then 10. Marion's photograph watched me from the wall above the fireplace, the way it always did, patient and knowing. "What did they do to her, Marion?" I asked the empty room. The house didn't answer. But I already had a feeling I wasn't going to like what I found. The next morning I called Daniel and told him I wanted to take Ren for the weekend, just a grandfather-granddaughter thing, fishing at the lake house the way we used to before Marion got sick and everything got complicated. He hesitated on the phone in a way that made the back of my neck go cold. "I'll have to check with Renee," he said. Check with Renee. My son, 39 years old, needing permission to let his own daughter visit her own grandfather. He called back an hour later. She said it's fine. Just don't let her have sugar after 6. Renee's strict about that now. I agreed, though something about his voice told me sugar wasn't really what this was about. Ren was quiet in the truck on the drive up, watching the trees blur past the window, her small hands folded in her lap like she was trying to take up as little space as possible. "You know," I said, keeping my eyes on the road, "your grandma used to say the lake water was better than any doctor for whatever's bothering you." Ren didn't answer for a long moment. Then, so quiet I almost missed it. "Even bad dreams?" "Even bad dreams," I said. "What kind of bad dreams have you been having, sweetheart?" She looked down at her hands. "I'm not supposed to talk about it." I kept my voice as calm and even as I could manage, though my heart had started hammering against my ribs. "Not supposed to talk about what, Ren?" She didn't answer. She just pulled her sleeve down over her wrist, quick, like she was covering something up. But not quick enough. I'd already seen it. A bruise, yellow-green at the edges, the shape of fingers wrapped all the way around her small arm. I gripped the steering wheel hard enough that my knuckles went white, and I kept my voice steady because I knew, the way you know when a fish is about to bolt off the line, that if I reacted too big, too fast, she would close up completely and I would lose whatever chance I had to understand what was happening to my granddaughter. "Ren," I said gently, "can you tell Grandpa who did that?" She was quiet for almost a full minute. The lake came into view up ahead, sun bouncing silver off the water the way it always had. "If I tell," she whispered, "will you still love me?" Something cracked open in my chest, wide and aching. "Sweetheart," I said, pulling the truck over onto the gravel shoulder so I could look at her properly. "There is nothing you could tell me that would make me love you 1 ounce less. Do you understand me?" She looked at me with Marian's eyes, brimming, and finally, she nodded. "It's Mommy's boyfriend," she said. "The one who comes over when Daddy works late. I want to tell you I handled what came next with wisdom and patience. I didn't. I sat in that truck on the side of the road with my granddaughter, and I had to remind my own hands to stop shaking long enough to hold her. What I did do was this. I didn't panic in front